Alright, so I'll pretty much be covering the Spanish GP, and I personally feel like this GP was so boring until the last, I'd say 30 minutes when it got very, very, very juicy for Verstappen. But yeah, okay, I guess I'd like to begin with pretty much the last spot. Of course, by default. Initially, I wanted to do like the first to the last, but I feel like first to the last is kind of like, obvious because maybe, you know what? I changed my mind. Let's just do the first to the last as I talk about the driver standing too and how I feel. Of course, with no doubt, in the first place, we have got Oscar Piastri, and then we have got Lando Norris. Not surprised at all. But the good news is that at least in the third place, at least in this third place, Charles Leclerc got to move a single spot, which is great because I feel like there's some diversity, which is also not great because I kind of want to see that Verstappen dominance once again. So, yeah. Overall, another thing that I want to mention is that we had Nico Rosberg as the commentator if you're watching through ESPN like I did, and I think that ties to Sky Sports. Phenomenal job. I feel like Sky Sports should just hire him as a full-time commentator. He's got very interesting tea, and I feel like, he knows, he like makes the race more exciting and more fun. I remember yesterday before quali, he mentioned how Oscar seems to have his head in the game, Lando not really, and I guess he was right. And I guess speaking of Oscar, I'll be honest with you, in that one part after the safety car, Oscar was like so close. He was one step away from losing his first spot, but he recovered very quickly, which is very impressive because he decelerated, right? And then he decelerated to the point that so they went from being like very far from each other, like this, and then they got pretty close. So Lando could have just taken over Oscar. Oh, whoops, not in that way, but you get it. I should probably get a better setup next time, but this shall do for now. So, but luckily Oscar managed to go and keep his distance, so he managed to keep his first spot, keeping a good distance between him and Lando. And I guess that's what I feel like the good thing about Oscar is it's a good ending to the triple header. He hasn't really had a race this good in the past couple weeks. Even though I feel like for Monaco, he's probably like trying to give space to Leclerc to go like, okay, if you can like get P1, I'll get P3 just for you. But anyways, Leclerc got P3 this time. I'm not sure why, which is good though. It means that Leclerc is finally regaining his confidence and his ability to drive. And in all honesty, I am very, 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 very happy for Leclerc. And then yeah, we've got Norris in the second place. Not a surprise. As I mentioned yesterday, at this point, I would be happy if Lando probably goes back here. And then we've got Leclerc here. I don't know. And Verstappen maybe. I was kind of hoping this was my hope. Like P1 is Piastri, P2 is Verstappen, and then P3 would be pretty much Leclerc. So that's kind of a diversity. Not super diversity. I mean, who knows? We might have Alonso somewhere here in the future. We will see. Alonso though eventually finally got his first set of points, and I am really happy for him. So yeah, speaking of that, back to the real one, because Lando got P2, which is good for him. Unfortunately, Verstappen got P10, and I'll cover that later. But yeah, Piastri was very close to losing it. Leclerc though surprisingly managed to beat Verstappen. They were pretty much neck to neck, so it's pretty impressive. George Russell, he got in contact with Verstappen so many times because he was supposed to be P4, so it's like, oh yeah, here. It's like, oh, let me actually move this here, but it's like, okay, you need to give way to Russell, and Russell's like, oh yeah, here, I'll try to make way, and it's like, bloop, they keep on getting into contact, which it wasn't good. And as Nico Rosberg said, Verstappen did it most likely intentionally, so he is going to get a penalty. Unfortunately, he did get a penalty for that, which is why Verstappen's P4 is gone. We're putting him in P10 thanks to his 10-point penalty. And yeah, I hope Lance Stroll is doing well because he's currently recovering from his wrist. As someone who has sprained her ankle and still feels the pain every now and then, I'm gonna be honest, recovering from injuries like that is not easy. All right, moving forward from Leclerc, we have George Russell in the fourth place. He went up from the P5, which is good for him. Very, very happy for him. And I personally feel like, George Russell in P4 was like basically he's going back to his factory reset mode for the season. He's been doing pretty well all season, so I'm very, very happy that he's back to his A game, even though I'm not happy with what happened to Kimi Antonelli, which also means that Kimi Antonelli's not going to be here. But who knows? As I mentioned, I want some more diversity in the points section of the grid, especially the podium. We didn't really get that, but it's okay because we have Nico Hülkenberg in P5, right behind Russell. And I feel like that's great because, as I mentioned yesterday, my hope in the Sauber is super duper low. So seeing him up there in points makes me really happy for him. Who knows? Maybe a miracle will happen and he'll get a podium. But maybe McLaren will be too good and he might not get a podium. I don't know. We will see what happens next. And of course, in P6, we have got Lewis Hamilton. Okay. I'm sort of like reflecting on this very quickly. Lewis Hamilton is just 1 point away from Nico Hülkenberg, about a couple seconds away. Yeah, that's crazy. I don't know. But Lewis is hopefully recovering. I thought he was going to get P4 or maybe fight for a podium, but it's a Ferrari, really. And I don't think, like, Lewis is happy in the Ferrari, but oh well. And then, P7, we have got our Rookie of the Year, Isaac Hadjar. So we just need to move it forward. And I feel like, Isaac he's a very good driver. I love his personality. I love how V-Carb shows really good stuff about him. And he seems to get along with Liam pretty well, so really happy to see him there, especially he's in a V-Carb. And I think like V-Carb might have one of their best performances in the past few years with Isaac and Lawson. But Isaac, as Nico Rosberg told you, please don't go to Red Bull. I think Nico Rosberg said that, but I could be wrong. It's just like, being in a Red Bull second seat right now is a curse, which I'll talk about in a bit. And then moving forward, we have got, or I'd say backward because we're going back to the grid. In P8, we have got Pierre Gasly. Oh, I don't even have to move him, so that was great. And I guess I wouldn't really have to do much at this point. But Pierre Gasly is in P8. I'm also glad he's in the points. He's a midfielder. He's a good driver. So this is really, in all honesty, not that much of a surprise. And then in P9, we have Fernando Alonso. And he finally got his first points of the whole, season. Which, in all honesty, is amazing. Because I'm really sad Lando hasn't gotten any points. I'm glad he finally got his points, and I hope to see him score more, and maybe a podium. As I said, I want some diversity in this era. About this, yeah. But I always like to see diversity going on in results, because I feel like if the results are the same every week, what's the point of watching the race? It just gets boring. So, yeah. All right. So, we've got Alonso in P9, and he got P9, not borderline P10. And probably also thanks to Max Verstappen being in P10 for Max. But oh well, he's doing great. And then, after Max, in P11, we have got Liam Lawson. So we're going to move Sainz a bit, Albon a bit. Unfortunately, Alex Albon had to retire in the race. So, yeah. But Liam Lawson, I think one of his best decisions was actually getting dropped by Red Bull. Like for some people it's like, oh, Liam was like, Red Bull was mean, but I feel like he wasn't supposed to be there in the first place. So Red Bull did a great job by putting him back, demoting him to V-Carb, and he's performing well. I feel like just a bit more push. I can see a lot of double points happening from both Isaac and Liam Lawson. And then we have got Max Verstappen, of course, in P10, Liam Lawson in P11, and P12, we have Gabriel Bortoleto, probably one of his best results, during this year, which is understandable. He's in a Sauber, he's a rookie, and then Nico Hülkenberg, he's been driving forever. I feel like Nico Hulkenberg has been driving tractors for a long time, so I could see him doing better than Gabriel. Gabriel, on the other hand, is a very good driver, so yeah. Now, moving forward to Yuki to P13, we have Yuki Tsunoda. See, I told you, Yuki will make it. He was in P20. Like, you see, he was in P20. He was at the back of the grid. He was back here, okay? He was back here, and he got to move to a bit more forward area right here. So, P13, I'm happy for Yuki. He jumped up 7 spots, not in the points range, but still happy for him. Kind of sad for Sainz, though, because Sainz is like, what, now on a P14 in his home race. But again, it's just somewhat his first year in Williams. So, yeah, also this is Albono, this is Sainz for just moving him forward. Okay, now, P15, we have Franco Colapinto. I don't know. I still don't agree with how, like, Jack Doohan got dropped, but I'd say he's having similar performance results with Jack Doohan so far, but this was also an improvement because he was like, what, P19? I mean, 3 people retired in the race, right? So if he was P19, in theory, he should easily get P16, and he got P15. So, yeah. We've got him right here. Alright. I was gonna say, where's Ollie and Esteban? Because it feels weird not saying their name yet. But, yes, we've got him on P15. Colapinto on P15. Again, he's like, technically this is like a, what, P19, P18. He's just pretty much the third last before Ocon and Ollie Behrman. So, yeah, again, they're in a Haas. If they score points, it means the car was doing well that day. If they don't, then it's not the car's problem. Very unfortunate though, but yeah. And I'm supposed to move Lance Stroll out from here because he wasn't in the race. He was the end. He retired. So now I'll just do a quick back from the P20. Obviously, Lance Stroll wasn't in the race, so by default he's in the bottom of the grid. And then get followed up by Alex Albon, who is at P19 because he retired, and unfortunately Kimi also had to retire. So yeah, not really good week for Mercedes and Williams, I feel. But I mean, for Mercedes, at least George is back here. Usually we see Kimi somewhere here. So yeah, that's pretty sad. But we've got 2 Haas's here in the bottom 2. So I'd say this week wasn't good for Haas either. As for Alpine, Pierre is there. So not bad for him. He got into the points. And yeah, I guess that's a bit for pretty much today's race. I personally feel like, I don't know. I just feel like Mercedes needs to fix their car. Like how George had issues with his brakes, and then Kimi, Kimi might have felt very sad, only for me to realize it was probably not a Kimi problem. It was more of a Mercedes problem. So yes, I'm pretty happy though to see Leclerc back on the podium. I know he wouldn't be world champion, but a girl can only dream. Maybe next year. Please don't give up the Leclerc. Please, I still want to see you do it with a Ferrari because that's your dream. But I feel like, again, if by the time his contract with Ferrari ends, he doesn't get a podium, he should probably move teams. I don't know to which team. Like, Mercedes for a fact wouldn't really change anyone. McLaren, maybe. I don't know. We'll have to see Lando's performance next year. I feel like Piastri is like, he's a good driver. He's really like taking advantage of the car, taking advantage of anything that he can take advantage. And he learns very quick. So let's see if Piastri wants multiple world championships or if he's going to be happy with one. Because I notice like sometimes like, yes, it's nice to have multiple championships. Like Lewis Hamilton right here has like seven, world champions. So yeah, and I guess that's pretty much all for my review for the grids. Our world champion is Oscar Piastri, and that's for today's results. But yeah, Okay, so that's all for today. Thanks for watching, and I'll pretty much talk about the driver standing soon, so keep an eye on the next video.